If they did it to several other members as soon as their health started failing, why in the heck didn't you think they would do it to you? Them niggas ain't loyal. You can't trust them hoes.
Hello, black hole. See this brother win, man. Hey, look, what is it, win, baby? What is it, win, baby? What is it, win, baby?
Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our ultimate animal print turban. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube, and for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's start talking about something new and spectacular. Anita Pointer and Fritz Pointer's Fairytale, the Pointer Sisters family story. The thing that changed my mind about the Panthers was a few years later in 1972 when they attacked Fritz in his classroom. Now he had gone to UCLA and studied African history, and he was teaching black students about black history, and they attacked him, beat him up really bad in his classroom, almost killed him, and he was teaching to uplift black people. Well, I was completely through with Bobby and Huey and anything they were doing or saying, completely through. So this was the love of the people they were crowing about. Plus, we knew then and we know now that when men with guns start wearing uniforms and marching with pictures of a leader, it was all over. We wanted none of that. We were not about to be anybody's uniformed soldiers. You better say that. You better say it, because before you know it, you'll be crawling all over the Capitol. David Rubinson admitted, I knew about Anita, Bonnie, and June's involvement with the Black Panthers. I also knew that it was very dangerous because the government had infiltrated the Panthers, and a significant number of their members were agent provocateurs and were causing problems. He continued, when Fred Hampton was murdered in Chicago, that really sent a cold shiver through anyone who was active at that time. The system was saying to us, we are going to kill you. You can be lying in bed with your baby boy, and we are going to break down your door and come in with machine guns and kill you. Ain't nobody messing with the Black Panthers. Ain't nobody messing with them niggas, or at least I ain't. That's why I don't think I look good in uniforms, okay? That's not my judge. In 1966, in high school, Bonnie got a scholarship to Mills College in Oakland for creative writing. Dad tried to keep all of his daughters focused on the music of the gospel. That proved an impossible task in the vortex of music that the Bay Area had become in the late 60s. We were surrounded by a widely rushing current and rich melting pot of musical styles, but Daddy wanted our focus to be on gospel music. Worldly music would be after Sunday school and Bible study and choir practice and youth prayer meetings and ensemble rehearsals for junior choir. The thinking of church members at the time was to either sing God's music or the devil's music. Though tiny and thin, June filled a room with her smile and genuine laughter. With her quick wit and loose sense of humor to us and to her friends, she was a joy to be around. She loved McDonald's cheeseburgers and Orange Crush. Child, didn't all children love that bullshit? Why was we so pressed for McDonald's as a child, y'all? Why? And when you eat it as an adult, you be like, this shit is disgusting. Why did we buy this hamburger? Why did we want this hamburger? What is going on with this hamburger? The onions is too oniony. The bread is the hamburger is this ham? Is this burger? This can't be meat. What is this? Dog meat? You know, McDonald's, I don't have no problems with you to McDonald's. Okay. All I'm saying was I just don't understand why as a child we were so pressed for it. Okay. Like you as an adult, it's like you gotta have a taste for it, you know? You gotta be like, ooh, I want a fish sandwich or something like that. But as a child, man, that shit was the bomb. She was a light everywhere she went, but didn't need or demand all the attention. We were all tall girls, and June was no exception. At age 15, she was shooting up. Let me tell you something, Miss Pointer. You are very respectful about giving us tea, but not giving us all the tea because you just gonna put that in there. You just gonna be like, oh, June was, a junkie. You just going, but then you're gonna back away from it. Okay, dig this. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. At age 15, she was shooting up, but with slightly protruding front teeth. June didn't see herself as pretty. That's it. That's it. That's Mother Hunchy all. That's it. So you're not going to say about all the time she was climbing out the windows to get the shit. So you're not going to talk about how she stole your mammy and your daddy's car. You're not going to talk about, one night we caught her out there singing to a cat. You're not going to talk about that. You're just going to glaze over shooting up, girl. At age 15, she was shooting up. But with slightly protruding front teeth, June didn't see herself as pretty. Mom and Dad were certainly in no position to afford braces since the church had basically fired Dad in 1967, suggesting that he and Mom couldn't control their own daughters who insisted on singing the devil's music. Also, his eyes were getting bad, so I think they felt that he could no longer excite them like they needed. He got a little plaque to hang on the wall to remind him of the church he had helped to build with his own hands. Let me tell you something. In life, this is how I think, whether it be in a relationship, a job, YouTube, anything, everything. If you don't want me no more, then I don't want you no more. If you don't like me, then I don't like you. The church seemed to me to be a very fickle church. Okay, thank you for your time, but we moving on. This is the thing. Pappy, if they did it to several other members as soon as their health started failing, why in the heck didn't you think they would do it to you? Them niggas ain't loyal. You can't trust them hoes. Also, his eyes were getting bad, so I think they felt that he could no longer excite them like they needed. He got a little plaque to hang on the wall to remind him of the church he had helped to build with his own hands. Man, if you don't take this plaque and stick it up your damn ass, that's what you need to do with this plaque. Stick it in your ass. As time went by, various little things made me realize that I'd served my time, that I had given them all I had for 22 years. Yeah. You get rid of my pappy, bitch, you get rid of me. Moving on. However, he had no pension, and our income took a serious hit. Mother went to work as a janitor for the city of Oakland, and Dad a security job. Man, how old is Daddy now? What the hell he going to secure? Daddy found a job as a security guard at an apartment complex. They lost the beautiful 6-bedroom home on a hill on Oakland Avenue and were forced to move into a 2-bedroom house on 92nd Avenue in a rough part of East Oakland. Not only was the house smaller, but Bonnie, June, and Fawn, Ruth's 3-year-old daughter, still lived with them. The tragedy struck our family, and we never truly recovered. One evening in the summer of 1968, while returning home from a neighborhood store on an errand for Mother, out of nowhere, June was attacked and brutally raped by several black males. As our niece Fawn, that would be Ruth's daughter, witnessed the whole horrible event, I don't want to go into the details because it still haunts us to this day, but it affected June and the whole family for the rest of our lives. We didn't go to the police because we had seen that it rarely, if ever, did any good. The neighborhood was a rough area where we knew that we had to fend for ourselves, and that's what we did. Fritz took a rifle and a 357 Magnum, jumped into his orange Volvo, and went looking for the rapist. I guess for all of us, it's a good thing they didn't find the thugs because that would not have turned out well. Unfortunately, the trauma of that event stayed with June and affected her severely. I think June may have felt that she was at a disadvantage because she was the youngest. Our older brothers weren't always around by that point, so there was no one to protect her. By that time, Fritz was 25, married, living in Berkeley, and working for Bechtel Corporation in San Francisco as an administrative assistant. Aaron was playing professional baseball somewhere in North Carolina. June had heard stories of how Fritz had fought for Ruthie and beat up some boy for bothering with her, and how Aaron had stood up for Fritz and whipped a couple of asses on his behalf. However, June never had that. She was only 15 at the time of the attack, and maybe she would have been safer if we were there, closer, known in that community. But circumstances had changed for our family, and there was nothing we could do about it. June's immediate reaction to the horrific event was a mental breakdown that led to her commitment at the Napa Mental Hospital. Her depression became so severe that Mom and Dad had to admit her to the San Francisco Mental Hospital. Apparently, doctors then believed that what June needed was drugs, more and more, stronger and stronger drugs. After weeks of regular, almost daily visits and June's rapid deterioration to an almost zombie-like state on what would be her final visit, Mother said to the doctor, "I'm taking my baby home." While physically she had recovered, June suffered from flashbacks and nightmares that made her want to be alone and then afraid to be by herself. Psychologically, she felt vulnerable, detached, estranged, and alienated from other people. She was young and naturally wanted to go out even at night for a walk or to a party, but was too afraid. June displayed classic symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. My niece Fawn was only 3 years old when it happened, when she was forced to witness her aunt being attacked. She too suffered mental and emotional trauma. Bonnie was 18 and June was 15. And since June was still at home, when she could, Bonnie would take her to friends' houses where they would listen to songs like the Beatles, Hey Jude, Otis Redding's The Dock of the Bay, Hugh Mascala's Crazy in Grass, The Temptations, I Wish It Would Rain, Jose Feliciano, Light My Fire, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell's You Are All I Need to Get By, and Aretha Franklin's I Say a Little Prayer. Bonnie, who was shorter and had darker skin than the rest of us girls, was also the visionary. In 1969, at 19, she dropped out of Merritt College. We were all children of the 60s. We became teenagers when James Brown, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Fats Domino, Little Willie, Junkie John, we know he a junkie from reading the Etta James book, the Shirelles, remember the Shirelles was with Etta James that time that they went over there to the freak party and Little Willie Junkie John was there hunching on her old girlfriend, or not her girlfriend, but her old Judy, who used to hunch on her daddy. The Shirelles, Etta James, Stevie Wonder, Kim Weston, and Marvin Gaye and the Motown were popular. When June was 12 years old, she brought home a 45 of the Elvis Presley record, All Shook Up, and was surprised that Mother let her listen to it. By 1969, Aaron, Fritz, Ruth, and I had families of our own: wives, husbands, children, and full time careers. Aaron was in Fukuoka, Japan, playing professional baseball. Fritz was away at UCLA studying African history. Ruth was working as a key punch operator for Folgers Coffee Company in San Francisco. And I had a career that I actually enjoyed as a legal secretary for the law offices of Matoya and Sweeney in Oakland. By 1969, I was focused on my job and my daughter, while my sisters were making plans of their own. Bonnie was focused on a career in music and was confident that she could make it happen. Since I had to take care of my daughter, I was focused on my office job. It was not how I had envisioned my future, but I took comfort in the fact that I could support myself and Jada. Meanwhile, Bonnie had convinced June to leave high school and join her in forming a singing group. June was only 16 at the time, so she was willing to put her trust in Bonnie and give it a shot. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this: the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My bra showing. Naysayers, my patron loves you babies. Have a good one. Peace.